I'm debuting another new band today. Today marks the first appearance of Kadavar. And I have a feeling this is going to be a long one because even though Kadavar is a relatively new band, their first record, which I'm going to talk about today, only came out in 2012 or 2013, 2012. Short history with them, but it's quite deep. And to give you, because I'm going to talk about something else very, very briefly first, a little announcement, but to give you a little sneak preview of Kadavar, two very notable things about Kadavar. Three notable things about Kadavar. One, they're my favorite band of the last 30 years. Of any new band that's come out in the last 30 years, Kadavar is number one. That's one. Two, kind of as a consequence of that, they're one of only, I think, 3 or maybe 4 bands that I've seen live in Mexico, United States, and Canada. Leave a comment down below if you think you know the other bands that I've seen in all 3 of those countries. Kadavar is one. The other thing is maybe the salacious, what's going to be the salacious part of this video, and I'll talk about that, is Kadavar is the only band that I've had a face-to-face confrontation about. I had a little a significant run-in with a member of Kadavar. Not physical, but it was a heated argument. There was some anger, face-to-face, or face-to-face like this, because this guy's like 3 meters tall. And I will talk about that in great and gory and salacious detail coming up. But first, an announcement. And the announcement is that next Saturday, or this Saturday, whatever, I'm not sure when this video is going to be on, but it's going to be December 9th, Saturday, December 9th. I will be at El Chopo. It's my first time at El Chopo since August. And I know some of you like those videos. I will be doing a video there. So stay tuned. Probably on Monday the 11th, that video will be up, or maybe Tuesday the 12th. Somewhere around there. Maybe even Sunday the 10th. I don't know. But I'm going to El Chopo Saturday, December 9th. I know people generally like those videos. I'm going with my friend Dallas, who's coming from Canada, and I was there with him last year, and I'm going with my friend Adriana, who's from Mexico City. So we will be at El Chopo, and I think Dallas's wife too. We will be at El Chopo on Saturday, December 9th. If you're in Mexico City, come and say hello if you see me walking around, and buy me a beer or something. Say hello. Come and say hello. Is that it? Now, getting back to Kadavar, I'm gonna start at the beginning. My very deep history with Kadavar. Getting back to my point of them being my favorite band since 1991. The last band, and what I mean when I say that is the last time that I was into a band as much as I am or was into Kadavar, almost like an obsession, was Pearl Jam in 1991. There have been a lot of bands I've liked since 1991, a lot of bands that I really, really love since 1991, but Pearl Jam was an obsession. And Kadavar, when I first heard them in 2013, which I'll get to, they gave me that same feeling, that feeling of like, I just can't get enough, I need more, I love this band, I'm obsessed with them. So that's why I say Kadavar is my favorite band of the last 30 years, even though they've only been around for 11 years. Now, I first heard of Kadavar, as I said, this album, and I've got it right here. This is their debut album. It's still got the price tag on it. This came out in 2012. Now, I remember very well how I first heard of Kadavar. This was maybe in early 2013 it was. They were doing a tour with a bunch of bands I had never heard of before. It was Kadavar. I don't know who was headlining, but the bands I remember were Kadavar, Scorpion Child, Mothership, and there were 2 other bands who I can't remember right now. And I'd never heard of any of them before, but I saw this on Blabbermouth. It said, the headline said, Kadavar, Scorpion Child, Mothership, and these other 2 bands announced 2014 North American tour dates. And as I said, I didn't know any of those bands, but I liked a lot of those names. I loved Scorpion Child. I thought it was a great name. And I did become a really big Scorpion Child fan too. And I thought Mothership. And to be honest, when I first heard Kadavar, the name, I thought, no, Kadavar, it's probably a death metal band or something. with a name like that. And I looked into them, and they were on Nuclear Blast Records. Their second album, I think, had just come out. Kadavar had just come out on Nuclear Blast. Same thing that I had with Graveyard. I talked about Graveyard a couple of months ago. That I was under a real, big misapprehension. The name Graveyard, the name Kadavar on Nuclear Blast Records. I thought, it's probably music I don't like. It's definitely not music that Mike Pratt is going to like. And so, but anyway, I checked all those bands out. I checked out Scorpion Child, Mothership, and Kadavar. The one that really, really stood out to me by far at that time when I first heard them was Scorpion Child. I thought they were an excellent band. I bought their not their record, but I bought the CD. And I downloaded albums from all three of those bands. The Scorpion Child debut, Kadavar, and whatever the Mothership album was. And I listened to them all. I loved, as I said, Scorpion Child. Kadavar, I thought, okay, they're not like what I thought they were. But, and also I thought, and again, this is stupid, just like Graveyard being from Sweden. Kadavar is from Germany. They're from Berlin. And I know it's very, very stupid, but it's like, I'm not really into European bands. They just have a certain style and sound that I'm not interested in. And especially if their name is Kadavar and they're on Nuclear Blast. I was very, very stupid and ignorant and young. I was 44 years old back then in 2013. 2014 this was. I was 44 years old, yes. And, but then I listened to Kadavar. I found that I was listening to Kadavar more and more than Scorpion Child, even though I loved Scorpion Child. And I ended up buying Abracadavar on CD and the first record, which I'm about to talk about. It's going to be a while, trust me. This is going to be a long one, I think. And Orchid was another band. Orchid wasn't on that bill, but it was around the same time. These bands were all kind of friends, and some of them toured together. I really got into Orchid at that time too, and I love Orchid. So I listened to Kadavar, and I thought, this is like a really, really, really good band, excellent band. I thought, man, I would love to see these guys live. There's no way they will ever play in Mexico. There's no way, because it was just, especially back then, 10 years ago, it was only the major bands that played in Metallica. Little, lesser known bands like Kadavar would never play in Mexico. And then just a few months after that, I guess it was in April or May, there was a show. It was announced maybe only 2 or 3 weeks before. Wolfmother was playing in Mexico City with Kadavar opening. And I thought, oh my God, I got to see Kadavar. This is probably going to be my only chance to see Kadavar. But things were not going so well for me at that time. I didn't have a lot of money. I still don't have a lot of money. And what I do, I've spent it all on records recently anyway. I thought, I can't justify going to see it because I'm not a Wolfmother fan, though that may change. I thought I can't go spend $25 on Wolfmother to go see Kadavar for 45 minutes or something. So I thought, what should I do? I really want to go. But, it was an expensive ticket plus driving to Mexico, taking a day off work or a night off work and everything, because I used to sometimes work afternoons and evenings back then. And now there was a guy that I had kind of met at the time, a guy called Weston McGowan, who was Scorpion Child's manager at the time, because I had posted a picture of the Scorpion Child CD that I bought in Mexico, and he somehow saw it and sent me a message and friended me on Facebook, I think. And he thought it was a bootleg CD, and I guess he was kind of mad, saying, "Hey, where did you get that?" And I guess he wanted to look into it. Apparently, it was licensed. It was properly licensed in Mexico. Anyway, so Wes and I kind of became, kind of internet buddies or social media buddies. And I guess I had posted something about, oh man, this great band Kadavar that I like is playing in Mexico, and I don't know if I should go or not. Help me, guide me. Somebody be the angel and the devil on my shoulder. Hopefully 2 angels or 2 devils. And somebody guide me, convince me that I should go see Kadavar, because I can't decide on my own. Weston, who managed Scorpion Child, I think at that point, he was still managing them. He said that he was going to put me on the guest list because he knew Kadavar or knew Kadavar's management or something. And he said, go. You might not get another chance. So he put me on the guest list, and I went and I saw Wolfmother and Kadavar. Kadavar, this is one of the few concerts that I've seen where a lot of people like to say, the opening band, this band stole the show. Twisted Sister stole the show when they opened for Iron Maiden in 1984 on Twisted Sister, Stay Hungry, and Iron Maiden, Power Slave, which is not true because I saw that tour. Everybody loved Twisted Sister, but they didn't blow Iron Maiden away. I saw Kiss blow Whitesnake away. This is not my opinion. The crowd was way more into Kiss than they were Whitesnake. And I would say this was another, like the crowd was really, really into Kadavar. You know, nothing against Wolfmother, but the crowd thinned out a little bit after Kadavar finished playing, and not as enthusiastic as they were for Kadavar. Kadavar got a headliner's response at that show. And then, even more amazingly, they announced, I guess it was a couple days before, that Kadavar was also going to do a headlining show the next night after Wolfmother at a place that was one of my favorite concert venues ever. A small, tiny, tiny bar, like the size of my apartment, called Kadavar, which closed down a couple of years ago. And I thought, oh my God, this is incredible. So I can see Kadavar twice, back-to-back nights, opening for Wolfmother, and then going to see them again the next night, headlining at this small bar. I think that only holds about 180 people, something like that. This is incredible. So I went to that one too. And I've got the poster there. I don't know if you can see it. That top on this side, the black one is the Kadavar poster from that Kadavar headline show. That's another Kadavar poster, the gold one, beside the window at the bottom. Here's another Kadavar poster there. I've seen them 8 times, and I'll get to that too. And I also another little thing that I liked about Kadavar. I love their logo. I thought their logo was great. I ended up a few years ago getting a Kadavar. It's not a Kadavar tattoo, but it's a Kadavar inspired or Kadavar themed tattoo. It's the cool logo, the inverted triangle with the really, really great logo, although similar to Wolfmother's logo. And it's my last name, my surname instead of Kadavar, because it also has an A in the middle. So it worked out perfectly. Lily designed this for me. I can't tell you how much I am or was a massive Kadavar fan. This was going to change, and I will get to that after the big falling out with Kadavar, the personal falling out I have with Kadavar. That show at Kadavar, that was in April or May. It looks like May 25th, 24th or something in Mexico City at Kadavar, 2014. That's one of the best concerts I've ever seen. Oh my God, I can't tell you what a good time I had at that concert. Metallica on Master of Puppets tour headlining in 1986 was one of my favorite. The Kiss reunion tour in 96, the Kiss acoustic convention show in 1995. I don't know what else, but maybe, I don't know. But yeah, Kadavar, I thought, this is incredible. Going to see a band at 44 years old after going to 400 concerts. That's how much I like Kadavar. And I generally don't promote my videos on my YouTube channel, but look for a video they did. They did a lot of songs. I took one video that night of a song called Purple Sage, which is on this record that I'm going to talk about. That is, and I usually, when I go to concerts, I usually take at least one video. Sometimes I'll take 2 or 3, depending on some factors. But this one, I only took one. And that for sure is the greatest concert video that I've ever taken. I've probably watched that at least 10 times, maybe 15 or 20 times. A couple of times a year I watch that video. So if you want to watch it, go to, and I don't think anybody's watching this now, but search for Dan Bowski or Dan Delaney, Kadavar, Purple Sage, Mexico City. And then I saw them also at Kadavar in 2018, which is what the gold poster is from. I also did a video of Purple Sage that night, but it's the first one. Purple Sage, Kadavar, Mexico City, 2014. If I do say so myself, it's a great video, or a great performance, and I captured it on video, so go watch that. So I got really into Kadavar, and one of the things that I love about them and why I consider them such a great band, my favorite, it's not just, obviously it's their music, but they're always doing something. They have B-sides, they redo, previous songs that they've done in the past. They put out songs just out of nowhere, like, yeah, here's our album from last year, but here's another song that we just recorded in our studio last week or whatever. They're always touring. They're very, very, I guess prolific is the word. Always doing something, very, very hardworking, toured a lot. And they were never they were never off my radar, I guess. There was always something in Kadavar world. And so I've seen them now. I saw them with Wolf Mother. And then the next night at Kadavar headlining. I've seen them twice at a venue in Mexico City called Auditorio Blackberry. That's 4. I saw them in at Heaven and Hell Festival, Hell and Heaven Festival. And what was the other time in Mexico? There was another time. I can't remember, but I've seen them 6 times in Mexico. Once in San Diego. I flew to see them to San Diego to see them. They announced a short run of shows. I think it was in California and maybe Las Vegas or Portland or Seattle or something. I have a friend, Luis, who lives in Tijuana, Mexico. So I suggested this to him. He said, come on up. So I flew to Tijuana, stayed with Luis for a few days, crossed the border into San Diego, and saw Kadavar with Truck Fighters. Truck Fighters was opening. That was a fun little 3-day trip to take. And I should also mention a few other things before I get to the breakup with Kadavar. And when I saw them at the first time I saw them opening for Wolf Mother, because Weston got me on the guest list and everything. I wanted to be a nice guy and be thankful. So I brought them a bottle of tequila in a nice bag, and I presented it. And I met, just by pure luck, I met Tiger, the drummer, and who I will mention shortly, maybe, Tiger, the drummer, and Simon, the bass player. I saw them outside. I would have just given the tequila to, because this guy Weston, he knew a guy called Ryan Tarby, who was very, very, very gracious with me. He also put me on the guest list for one of those Auditorio Blackberry shows. I met Ryan and I gave him the bottle of tequila. I said, I'll give this to the guys for me. Welcome to Mexico. You're an awesome band. And here's a bottle of tequila to welcome you to Mexico. And then just by luck, I was walking around the venue before the show and they were standing outside having a cigarette. And I met Tiger and Simon. I got a picture with them. We talked for a couple minutes. They were very friendly. And everything was nice and beautiful and lovely in Kadavar world in 2014. That would change. And what else was I going to say about that? Also Tiger. This kind of plays into the confrontation story. Is there something else I should add before I get to that? Anyway, I followed Kadavar obviously on social media and followed individually Lupus, the singer guitarist, and Tiger. Followed them individually. Tiger followed me on Instagram, and he liked some of my pictures and everything. And can we get to this now? And I've spent a lot of money on Kadavar. I went to Canada to see them. I flew to San Diego to see them. I saw them here. At some point I had, I don't know how many Kadavar shirts. I bought all their CDs and records, and this plays into what's about to come. And just a massive, huge Kadavar fan. And as much as I love this record that I'm going to talk about at some point, it's not even my favorite one. For as much as I love this, there's something that I like even better. It's Berlin. Berlin is maybe my favorite record of the last 20 years, 15, I don't know. But I love Berlin more than this. Maybe I'll buy that record one day. And one last thing, about this album. This was one that Miguel gifted me a couple of weeks ago. My friend Miguel, who flew from California, who follows me on YouTube, and he flew to Mexico City to see Corona Capital Festival 2 weeks ago. We met up, he gave me a bunch of records. What a nice guy he is. And this first Kadavar record was one of them because he knows I was a big fan. So when I went to go see them in Toronto in, this was almost around this time of year. It was December, mid or late December 2019, just before COVID. And where to begin? This was the day I got to Toronto. The concert was on, I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday or something. I got to Toronto the day before. The next day I went downtown. I went to the Hockey Hall of Fame. I went out for lunch with my good friend that I've been good friends with for 35 years. And because he had visited me here in Mexico the previous month in November 2019. These are great details, right? And so we had lunch, we had a couple beers, and then we went to the venue. Kadavar was playing at Lee's Palace, which is a venue in Toronto. It's been around forever. A lot of great bands have played there. And so now because I always like to, when it's shows like this, I like to be up at the front. I like to really, experience it. And I'm not going to wait 3 days in line to get to the front to see Metallica or anything. I'm not going to spend $100 to, for a front row ticket. But if it's a band of this caliber playing in a venue like this, I have no problem waiting to be right up against the stage, which I did. And I remember it was like -4 that night in Toronto. This was December 18th or 19th or something. And my friend and I, he probably didn't want to do this, but he was a trooper, Dave. And we waited outside for an hour to get in to be right. I think by the time the doors opened, an hour after we stood there were like 4 people behind me. And as soon as the doors opened, they went and got beer anyway. So I guess I could have just gone and saved myself an hour. But I'm a trooper, and I got there early. And it was really cold. So anyway, they started playing, and I was enjoying the show and everything. I bought a poster, a $50 poster, which is not hanging here, but I have it. I bought a poster. I was wearing a Kadavar shirt, and I bought the poster because they only had a few left. I bought it before the show started. As soon as I went in, and I asked the woman working at the merch stand, I said, "Oh, I want to buy this now before they sell out, but can you hold it for me so I can get it after the show so I don't have to hold it while I'm rocking out?" And she said, "Yeah." So after the show, I went to collect my poster. I had to wait for a couple minutes because people were buying things. I got the poster, and I saw Tiger, the drummer. And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and I waved to him. And I don't know if he recognized me or not. I assumed he did because, as I said, he followed me on Instagram, and I had met Lupus a couple of times. I met Lupus actually at that Kadavar show in 2014. I met him, talked to him for a while, and then when I saw him in San Diego, I met him again, talked to him, showed him my Kadavar tattoo. I think he was suitably impressed. And so, then I'm not friends with them, and I wouldn't even say I know them, but I know they are aware of me anyway. And I think I had mentioned something also on their social media that I was coming to see them in Toronto. And so I saw Tiger, and he looked at me, and I waved to him like as if I thought, oh, maybe he recognizes me. And he just looked at me as I waved to him. He just looked at me like a death stare, I would even say, which I didn't really realize at the time until what happened is what I'm about to explain. So I went over to him, I said hello to him, and he was very cold. I don't mean cold to the touch. He was cold. He seemed very, I don't know, like I was bothering him or like he was in a bad mood or something, even though he had come out and he had been talking to some fans. I remember he had 2 beers in his back pocket. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, you remember stupid little details. And so I started talking to him, mentioned, yeah, I came from Mexico City. I think he said, yeah, I know. He said, I remember you, I think. And so, I talked a little bit about, we have some mutual friends and blah, blah, blah. And he just seemed like the most disinterested person I've ever talked to. And I was like, oh. Didn't really think too much of it until a few seconds later when I, when I kind of stopped talking. He basically just kind of, nodded his head. And then he said, without acknowledging, I think, anything I said, he said, I wish I could remember his exact words, but he said, "You don't take pictures at our show. Don't take pictures with flash," because I had taken some pictures with flash. And he was very, very serious about it, like not angry. I don't know, angry. I don't know. But he was real serious. I was like, wow, all right. And I said, oh, you don't like that? Kind of like joking around or making light of it. I said, oh, you don't like that? And he said, no. Totally serious. I thought, holy shit, this guy is really upset about this. And I said, why? What's the problem? And I don't know. He said something like, we don't like it when people are taking pictures with flash all night. And I said, hold on. It wasn't all night. I said I took a few pictures in the first few songs, and that was it. So don't say that it was all night, because it wasn't all night. And looking back on it, there were 9. I took 9 pictures the whole night. So for him to say you were taking pictures all night is bullshit. It was 9 pictures. Probably all within the first 3 songs. I don't know. So yeah, he was really serious about this, and we kind of went back and forth a little bit. Like I was saying, why is this such a problem? And he, kept saying, we don't like it. It bothers me, or something like that. And then I was kind of getting a little bit annoyed, but also kind of in shock, thinking, why is this guy like angry about this? And so I said, you're telling me that with all the lights at a concert, you guys travel around the world, you're in airports, you're jet lagged, you have all these lights, this loud music, people are, going crazy and headbanging and screaming and, singing along and chanting your name and things like that. I said, with all of those things, you're distracted by flash. And I remember he nodded his head and he said, yes. And, they're German. So I think only retrospectively, I thought maybe that's just, Germans by a reputation have this, reputation of being very serious and, not really being very humorous or being, in good spirits. I didn't think that at the time. I was going, holy shit, this guy, what the fuck is this guy's problem? And I was still in shock. And retrospectively, I also thought, fuck you, Tiger. That's what I thought. And I wish I had said that to him at the time. If I hadn't been in such shock, I would have said, fuck you, don't talk to me like that. I'm a fucking grown adult, almost old enough to be your father. I only, when you have these things where you wish you would have said it, you would have said it. You wish you had said it earlier. And if I had the state of mind to think this, I would have said this to him. I thought, I'm standing here talking to you with a $50 poster in my hand, with a t-shirt. You knew that I flew here from Mexico to see you guys. You knew that I flew to San Diego to see you guys. Now, I don't know if he remembered that I'd given him a bottle of tequila or anything, but he knew that I had seen them many times in 3 different countries. And I thought, fuck you. Now, then don't talk to me like that. Now, I remember when I talked to Lupus when I met him in 2014 at Kadavar, in conversation, it came up that Lupus told me that he was born in 1986. Because I mentioned something about seeing Motorhead in 1986 on the Orgasmatron tour, and Lupus kind of laughed and said, that's the year I was born. And I was like, oh, well, I was, going to see Motorhead concerts in 1986 because I was 16 years old. And, so I guess Tiger's around the same age. And again, only after the fact, I was thinking, I was going to concerts for 2 years before you were even born. And you're going to tell me what, how to behave at a concert? Take a little break from this. Now, there might be some people, and I don't know how many people are watching this, very, very few. If you decide to write a comment now and say, oh, he's right, you shouldn't take flash photos at concerts, I will probably delete your comments. And I never do that. But for me, there's no argument about this. Or for those who also say they owe you nothing, which is bullshit. It's a bullshit, trite talking point. It doesn't mean anything. I know he doesn't owe me anything as a fan, but you know what he does owe me and what everybody should owe anybody? Be nice to people. Be friendly to people. Don't be an asshole. Don't talk down to them, not just because he's 3.5 meters tall. I think he gets taller every time I mention his height. Not because of that, but man, I'm first of all, I'm a person. You shouldn't talk to somebody like that. Don't be a rude prick. I don't care if you're German. I don't care who the fuck you are. Don't talk to somebody like that. And also I thought, man, I've spent a lot of money to see you guys. You don't owe me. You don't have to be my friend. You don't have to give me free merch. I can buy my own merch. You don't have to do anything to me, but just don't talk to me like that. And I thought of all these things after. And I wish I could have told him to go fuck himself. If I could go back in time, I would have said that, which I don't think he would have cared, and it wouldn't have done any good, but at least it would have made me feel better. But I just thought it was very rude for this guy. The guy gets to travel the world and gets paid for it. He's got a great life. He's got the rock star life. He's got his own home studio. Presumably he's got a great life. I know he's married. He has kids. And I'm, sometimes barely getting by, spending all my money on Kadavar. And he knows that I'm there to see him, that I took a fucking plane, spent a lot of money on that. Although it was combined to visit my family at Christmas, but Kadavar was played a major role in that. And I changed my flight, which was expensive, to go see them because I was going to come in the day after they played, but I changed it to the day before they played. And even if he doesn't know that, as I said, just be nice to people. You know, I understand if I put my beer on their, you know, their pedals or their gear, their amps or whatever, the monitors, and I spilled it. That's no good. Then you say something to me. Or if I'm, you know, if somebody throws something at them, yeah, you say something about that. But is taking flash 9 times, is that even a big deal? And I know there's the people that say, yeah, you shouldn't take flash cameras at concerts. Well, why not? Other than, same with the people that say you shouldn't use your phone at concerts, you shouldn't be texting at concerts, which I generally don't do. It's not up to anybody to tell anybody else how to behave, except to just be nice. This guy, the David Draymond from Disturbed, a couple of years ago, calling out the woman who was texting at his show, and Jack White and Maynard Keenan, who don't allow phones at their shows. It's not up to you to decide what people are going to do at your concerts. People come to pay to see you. Be happy that they're there. Some people are not always there to see you. Lilia, my ex-wife, has gone to concerts with me where she didn't even like the band, but she came. I'm rambling now. Maybe I was rambling 20 minutes ago. You know, she didn't necessarily like the band, but she came because, you know, for moral support and, you know, to do something together. And maybe she didn't have much interest, so maybe she was texting. Don't get mad at fans for doing things that you don't like. Yeah, that's all I have to say. So if you want to say that he was right and I'm not wrong and I shouldn't be taking pictures, fuck you also. And really, I'll delete your comment. Maybe I'll respond to it. Maybe I'll leave it up. I don't know. But really, for me, and I'm usually pretty balanced. I can usually see both sides of an argument. I don't understand. I truly don't understand why somebody would be upset. A band would be upset by this for 1/200th of a second 9 times when you have all the lights and everything. I really don't understand. But then even if I give him the benefit of the doubt, that okay, he does understand it, why say anything? You know, if you're a waiter in a restaurant and your customer is annoying, you don't tell them that. You know, they're going to give you a tip. And, you know, you're making money, it's your job. And sometimes you have to, I mean, there are things in my job. I'm a teacher. And people pay to, you know, for me to teach them. And they do things that I don't like sometimes. And they're annoying and you know, but I'm not going to tell them. I think, okay, I have respect for them. They're paying me money. They appreciate my, I guess, skill to help them learn. I'm not going to talk down to them. And I felt the same way about this guy, Tiger. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so that is my my Kadavar story. Now, as a result of that, the next day, it was the show was on a Friday, I think. This was Saturday, the next day. I always, when I see a band, I often check their social media to see if they put pictures of the show or maybe things they did in my city, Toronto, Mexico City, or wherever. And I noticed that Tiger had unfollowed me. Remember, he had followed me earlier in the year. He unfollowed me. And Lupus, and I guess Lupus was maybe just as angry as Tiger, but just didn't take it out on me. He blocked me because he didn't follow me, but I followed him. He blocked me. I couldn't find him on social media. He was gone. I could still see the Kadavar page, but Tiger unfollowed me. Lupus blocked me. So I told my friend about that, and he said, imagine that. These guys are so mad that they were talking about you and thinking about you like later that night or on the bus going to Detroit. And I almost went to Detroit to see them the next night, and I'm glad I didn't. Yeah, so they were apparently really mad about that. And looking back on it now, because the pandemic started like 3 months later, and you know, to complain about, if you're in a band and the airline loses your gear, you complain about that. If they damage your guitar, if they're throwing it around, it gets damaged. I understand that. If your flight gets delayed because of some bullshit from an airline, there are things to complain about. Somebody taking a picture with a flash, 9 pictures with a flash, is not something to complain about, because a few months later when COVID happened, they had at least 1 tour canceled. They basically went the whole year without playing shows, maybe 2 years with no shows. I thought, couldn't it be worse? You were complaining just 3 months ago about me taking pictures Now you have something to complain about. Complain about your livelihood being taken away. But don't go on tour, have people spending money on you, on tickets, on shirts, on posters, and then talk down. And to me, that is unacceptable. Now, as a result of that, I lost 100% interest in Kadavar. They became a zero band to me. It wasn't intentional. Like I wasn't thinking, fuck them. I'm not, I'm going to boycott Kadavar, because there's nothing to boycott. I'd already spent the money on the CDs and the T-shirts and the posters and the merch and everything. I wasn't going to go burn their records or anything like that. I remember when Metallica, when they had the Napster problem in 2002, people were saying, I'm going to throw away all my Metallica records, I'm going to burn them, fuck them, and all this. I thought, why? Like it, you can still listen to music. And also the thing with that is that wasn't Metallica. The thing with Metallica and Napster, that wasn't personal. This was very personal to me. This guy, Tiger, was a rude prick to me, fucking asshole, talked to me like I'm a child, or like he's my parent or my teacher, again, talking down to me from 4 meters above me. So I just lost all interest. I wasn't boycotting them, but I just thought, man, I don't feel like listening to Kadavar. And I used to listen to them a lot. It's only been in the last, couple of months, I've been really, really rediscovering. And despite all my bitterness telling this story now, it's in the past, and I can listen to them again now and really, really enjoy it, as I will demonstrate, hopefully shortly. And I also thought, what am I going to do if they ever come to Mexico? In that 3 months between the time this happened and the time COVID happened, I thought, shit, if they ever come to Mexico, what am I going to do? Because I feel like, why would I support these assholes, for one? But then the other hand was, I'm going to regret it if I don't go. Now, I guess maybe that was the good thing about COVID. It was COVID, destroyed any chance of them coming to Mexico. I have a feeling Kadavar will be back in Mexico next year. I will go. I don't forgive them. I don't really care. But musically, I can't deny that they're a fucking awesome band. I love everything about Kadavar except the fact that they're fucking assholes, or at least they were to me that night. Tiger was. But I can't deny that Kadavar is an incredible band that made a massive impression on me at 44, 43 years old. Amazing. Yeah, so that's Kadavar. Now, if I touched all the bases, I think that's what people say, I will get to the record. And as far as I know, this is a new record. It's in one of these kind of cellophane outer covers. I have a Van Halen 1984 was like this, and I have another one over here that it's kind of sealed. I can't explain it, but anyway, it was $24.99, gifted from Miguel. Again, thank you, Miguel. And I'm going to open it up now, and I'm going to talk about it track by track. And it's going to take me like 6 minutes. And it took me like half an hour to tell that stupid story. Maybe Mike Pratt listened to it. Mike Pratt is very devoted. Thank you, Mike. It's nice, nice texture. It's very kind of a matte. It feels a little bit. What's the word? A little. I'm not sure what it is, but I like it. Ooh, big faux pas. Big faux pas. They put the sticker right on the record cover. I don't like that at all. Let's see if I can gently remove that. So yeah, it came in this. And now I've never seen this before. The record, of course, I don't know what it's a gatefold, if you can see. I'm about to see what it is. Oh, awesome. Oh, look at that. Huge collage. Now, I don't know if this is their first album, so I don't know if all these photos came from, I guess, the club days, or I don't know if this was a reissue that came out, a couple years later. And then they added the pictures after. Oh, this is very cool. Now, I do remember, and I had the CD, as I mentioned, like 48 minutes ago. There were no lyrics. They didn't have lyrics in any of their albums until their most recent one. Well, two, for the Dead Travel Fast, that had lyrics. I'm going to guess this is nothing inside. Yeah, that's what I thought. Is there anything in there? An insert? Anything? No, nothing. So Very plain. That's always disappointing. It's just that, just regular black vinyl. Oh no, it's not black vinyl. What is this? What is this cover? Is this maybe it looks black on the camera. This is like a swirly, what color is this? Is it kind of a brown, wine, burgundy, weird color? Oh, kind of interesting. You'd think that they would put a hype sticker on that mentioning, because everybody loves colored vinyl. All right. And there's the logo that I mentioned. What a logo it is. I love it. It's incredible. Everything about Kadavar is fucking awesome, except Tiger. Now, this album is only 7 songs, but it is a full album. I guess it's around 33, 34, 35, 36 minutes. So it doesn't feel short. That's actually perfect for me. I've talked about this a million times. There's no need for an album to have 14 songs and for it to be 68 minutes. It's okay sometimes, but this really gets me. It's easy to listen to. And there's the back if you want to see the back. Can I get this price tag off? Price sticker? I'll work on that later. I'm not going to do that on camera. This has already been boring enough. And I have the track, the time here. So All Our Thoughts, 4:35, 6:13. These are the times. 5:38, 4:13, 4:48, and 8:12. So do the math. I'd guess that's 35 minutes around there. The first song is All Our Thoughts. Now this is a great one. This starts with, and man, I know Kadavar's music as well as anybody, any band that I've been listening to for decades. I know Kadavar's music as well as any of them. Lyrically, I really struggle. I talked about this with Nirvana. I think I did Nirvana. I think it was the last episode. I did Nevermind. And I've always struggled with Kurt Cobain's vocals or lyrics. Ozzy, God, I've listened to so many Black Sabbath songs for 40, maybe more years, 43 years. Sweet Leaf, I think I don't even know all the lyrics to Sweet Leaf. I don't know all the lyrics to I Can't Get No Satisfaction. And yeah, Kadavar is one that, I'm not sure why it is, but some of the lyrics, I just can't get them. I would love to, and they're not online. But All Our Thoughts starts with a great, kind of a drum fill. And I love a song that starts like that, especially if it's the first song on the album. Like, maybe for me, the first one that comes to mind is Over the Mountain, Ozzy on Diary of a Madman. And Maiden, not Flight of Icarus, Where Eagles Dare on Peace of Mind, and All Our Thoughts on the first Kadavar album has a really cool, not a drum beat, but a cool drum fill. And I know the melody of the lyrics, but I just, the melody of the vocal melody, I just don't know lyrics. We always used to go, I haven't seen the sun, I've always seen the moon. I kind of know some lyrics here and there, but it's a great song. As every song on this album is great. There's 6 of them, kind of 7. If I remember, I'll talk about a ghost 7th song that isn't on the album. And this has and oh my God, all 3 of these players. Now on this one, the bass player was a guy called Mahmoud. This guy who was replaced, he recorded the second album, Abracadavar, and left, I think the day, Lupus told me about this. I think he left like the week before, the day before Abracadavar was released. But I don't know why people don't talk about Lupus as a guitar hero. Maybe I do, because nobody really knows Kadavar too much. To me, there's nobody in the last X number of years, as far as guitar goes, that I like better than Lupus. And singing too, I think he's a great singer. And Tiger's drumming is incredible. Amazing band. God, I love Kadavar. And I missed them for a couple of years, my falling out. But All Our Thoughts it ends with the all our thoughts are gone away, and that's horrible singing. And then there's a wailing guitar solo, and you kind of think or maybe expect it then to come back to the chorus or maybe another verse or a bridge, and then it goes out. But no, the guitar solo brings it right to the end. The last minute or a minute and a half is just a wailing guitar solo right through the end. The next one is Black Sun. No, that's Goddess of Dawn. It's bad enough that I sing the lyrics, but it's even worse when I sing the music. This one's a little bit, what a riff that is. So this album and all Kadavar albums, I guess, are just full of riffs galore. Black Sun also, is it that one? Yeah, Black Sun also ends with this one's a little bit longer. It also ends with a great solo. The last minute and a half, 2 minutes is a solo. The long way of distress. They called me from their void. I tried to ignore them. Death never came so close, darling, oh darling. Fear's coming back. Listen, listen. Dragging the cross up the mountain. Hear what the wizard says. I can't remember the lyrics, but Black Sun, and these two, All Our Thoughts and Black Sun, I think they're staples at every Kadavar concert. Actually, pretty much most of this album is. I think they always play All Our Thoughts and Black Sun. Forgotten Past. This is another cool little drum intro. This totally reminds me of a mix of Soundgarden and Black Sabbath. If you like either of those two bands, maybe you won't like this. Maybe you will. But it does remind me of, it's got kind of a weird, I don't know if it's a time signature. It's kind of a weird, let's say time signature, Forgotten Past. And then that is total Black Sabbath worship. Tears running down my face. Great riffs in that one too. Yeah, very Black Sabbath one that one is. Goddess of Dawn. This is the riff that I was singing earlier. Thunderous drums in that one. Only two more, kind of three more. Creature of the Demon. Oh my God. If not for the next song, Creature of the Demon would for sure be my favorite. This song is just wild, chaotic. It's kind of like the drums and the guitar are kind of going in opposite directions. It's like they're fighting against each other. One is doing one thing. It's like in Joe Pesci says in The Painting, Goodfellas, one dog goes this one dog goes this way, the other dog goes this way. That's what Creature of the Demon reminds me of. And that's probably a terrible analogy or a terrible explanation, but that's just a wild, crazy, intense, when they do that live, especially in a small place, when I've seen them in Kadavar, Creature of the Demon is just fucking incredible. It's so heavy, intense, and it has also a great ending, different than All Our Thoughts and Black Sun, which end with a long, solo that brings it to the end. Creature of the Demon has a really cool, very nice, almost melodic, very mellow the last minute or so of the song. It really breaks down and slows down and becomes a different song. Love it. My second favorite, my first is Purple Sage. I mentioned about 2 hours ago that I did the video of Purple Sage when I saw them at Kadavar in 2014. Really go look for that. You're gonna love it. That should be your introduction to Kadavar. If you like, metal or heavy rock or psychedelic, stoner, doom, whatever you want to call it, if you watch my video of Purple Sage from 2014 and you haven't heard Kadavar, that's your gateway, I promise. Just an incredible song. 8 minutes, 12 seconds. What a journey this is. This song, it has kind of and when they play it live, they can extend it out to, and I also took a video of it when they played it there at Kadavar a couple years later. I think that was like, they jammed it out to like 13 minutes, 12 or 13 minutes. I feel like I'm ripping myself off because I feel like I could talk about Purple Sage forever, but I don't know what to say. It's just an incredible song. It just kind of starts here, goes around like this, and then comes back. And it's just so similar to Creature of the Demon. It doesn't sound like, but it's just so heavy, intense. To me, Purple Sage is maybe my favorite Kadavar song, or there's another one from a later album, which maybe I like that one better. But yeah, Purple Sage is just fantastic. And they sound like how they look. Whatever sound you hear when you see this picture, that probably is how they sound. They look like Norsemen. I don't know, is that what they look like? I don't know. Maybe they don't sound like how they look. But yeah, so this is a long one. I'm not sure. Let me check. We're at oh God, 49 minutes, even longer than I thought. I do have one more Kadavar album right here in front of me that I will get to. I don't know when I'll do it, maybe a couple of months before I talk about Kadavar again. And I would like to buy a couple more. Maybe when I'm at El Chopo everything at El Chopo is so expensive. I have looked for more online. They're just too expensive. A little bit too expensive for me. Maybe I will get Berlin at least. I would like to have them all. But after a long, tumultuous relationship with Kadavar, let's say I can welcome them back into my life. And this was the longest episode ever of the first Kadavar album.